evening, everybody. Welcome to PSGL Premier Sim Gaming League's round number 8 here in our Gran Turismo 7 League, and could well be a championship decider around what is, in my opinion, one of the best circuits of the game. Welcome to Britain. Welcome to the Brands Hatch GP circuit for round number 8 of Season 2. Our Gr.4 World Tour. Last time around in the wet weather of Autopolis, it was a familiar winner in terms of the person who's sort of been dominating the wet races lately. A second win in the season for CRG Jamie, following up the win that he got a few weeks before at the Red Bull Ring. However, was not enough to keep his slim championship hopes alive despite that victory. It was Aphelion who got a 5th podium in a row, 6 so far this season, in 2nd place, and a first podium of the season for Oliver, the Phoenix 7 driver there, finishing in 3rd place. And with Antonio finishing in 4th, you might be wondering what that has done to our championship standings at the moment in time. So if we take a look at those championship standings, you can see Aphelion is leading on 85 points. Antonio 8 points further behind. So if we get a win tonight for Aphelion and Antonio is outside of the top 5, then, well, outside of the top 4, sorry, then the championship will be certain. Realistically, for Antonio's chances, he could probably do with finishing ahead of Aphelion tonight. Otherwise, he's going to be a bit of a trouble heading in towards next week's race, the finale at Trial Mountain. We're talking, of course, about tonight's track. As we've already said, it is certainly a track that I enjoy greatly. And here is a reminder of the Brands Hatch Grand Prix circuit in Kent in England, former host of Formula 1 World Championship races. Last one of those was in 1985, I believe, where Nigel Mansell took the victory there in what was one of his last race, what was one of his first race victories for the Williams team. As you can see, quite a short circuit, 2.43 miles, 3.92 kilometers, so a 38 lap race. And with the tyre regulation rules, you must do at least 9 laps on the hard tyres, at least 9 laps on a set of the medium tyres. We're again expecting drivers to do a lot more than that on the hard tyres when it comes to things, and depending on how your tyre wear is as well, we might see a few drivers with the soft tyres, because we have got a bit of a difference to the grid tonight. So last time around, there was the last week, I should say, in the Tier 2 race, we saw Solid Ninja Snake take the championship victory. Brownski finished in 2nd in that race. Steve-O was 3rd, though they've been the top 3. They've been the dominant 3 in the 2nd tier championship here, so they've been rewarded with a promotion to the top tier. They will be racing in the top tier tonight, so a good chance to see what they can do. A good chance to see what the Renault can do as well. It's not a car that's been used quite a lot over the season in this top tier. In fact, I don't think we've ever seen anyone use it in the top tier. So it will be intriguing to see what the different drivers do, what they decide to go for, how things work out for them. Generally, they've been able to do a one-stop strategy when they've had the opportunity to. It is going to be a dry race. I can tell you things are looking very overcast at the moment, but it isn't one of the scheduled wet races that we are having this season. We've had all of the wet races so far, so we are expecting things to be very dry at tonight at Brands Hatch, and again next week at the United States race, Trial Mountain circuit. As you can see, the final race of the season. Will that be the championship decider, or will Aphelion secure the championship tonight? Won't be long before we are getting underway for qualifying. I think we're just waiting on the final driver to enter the lobby, and then we should be able to get going. Let us know in the chat who you guys think is going to take the victory tonight. Can we see Aphelion take the championship victory tonight? Can we see him take, as we said, he's been in incredible form all season, no lower than 2nd in any of the races he has taken part in. 3 wins in the last 5 races. Can he take that 4th win and possibly just take that championship tonight? But qualifying is underway, and we'll be seeing the first cars heading out onto the circuit very soon for this qualifying session. And in fact, there they are, just starting to make their way out onto the circuit now. Brownski eager to lead everyone away. And a reminder, you must start on the tyres that you qualify on. So we can see a mix. You're not forced to qualify on any specific tyre. It's not like the F1 leagues, obviously, where now that you do have free tyre choice, drivers do qualify on whatever tyre they want. Here, here it's a free choice. Here we're going to see people just do slightly different things on the tyres. We've got Brownski on the hard, Steve-O on the mediums as they're making their way out of Surtees. So don't be surprised if Steve-O gets the run on Brownski here and gets to move down the inside early on in the qualifying session. As we mentioned, these two drivers popping up from our second tier here, which is probably to a great relief to all the drivers that have been in the second tier. The top three have done a fantastic job this season. Solid Ninja Snake taking 5 victories in the 7 races. Steve-O taking 1. Yavi, who's remaining in that top second tier, he's taken the other victory. Brownski, despite not winning a race this season, 5 podiums out of the 7 races. Very consistent and second place in that championship before he was given that little promotion in towards the top tier. But for now, let's see what happens in this qualifying session. Let's see what Steve-O can do as he takes us on a lap of the Brands Hatch circuit. Staying over the left-hand side of the circuit as you cross the finish line. Very careful braking in towards Paddock Hill Bend. A very treacherous corner. The gravel tempting you on the outside. And Steve-O running as wide as you'd like to go into there as you head into the hairpin at Druids. The first real overtaking opportunity on the circuit. Graham Hill Bend, a tricky downhill corner. Very easy to just run wide here and go a bit deeper than expected. And I think Steve-O has done pretty much exactly that. But he will be carrying on with this lap time. And then in towards Surtees. This is where the Indy circuit goes over to the right. But these are staying on the old Grand Prix loop. Not actually allowed to use this many times over the year, but we still see it as we are doing tonight. We see it in British GTs as well. And we do also see it in the British Touring Car Championship and the British Superbike Championship. Now heading into Hawthorne Bend. Again, this part of the circuit, it's all about medium speed. It's all about keeping your momentum up. It's not the easiest to make any moves done. He just takes it nice and curvy there through the Westfield Bend. Now heading through Dingodale in towards Sheen Curve. A very tricky right-hander there. Almost a blind corner. Comes at you fast. So important. They've got full commitment through there in towards Stirling's Bend. And won't be long before we are waiting towards the end of the lap now. Heading towards where the circuit starts rejoining up on itself one more as you make your way through clearways and Clark Curve. Foot flat to the floor now. See if he hugs the right-hand side of the track. Might be the best way to do. Just to stick towards that right-hand side of the track here. But no, it looks like he's going to go for another flying lap. And a 1:31.403 is the first one that we are seeing from Steve-O. Felion instantly beating that with a 1:30.2. Well, it was a 1:30.2, but we're already seeing those times come crushing down. Mehdi has done a 1:29.834 in the BMW, and then Antonio 1:29.3 from him. We'll just quickly check if we've got any differences of tyres as Jamie, the winner of last week's, slots himself into second there on a 1:29.4. We are seeing quite a big difference in the tyres here. Felion going for the mediums. A reminder, he can win the championship tonight. We'll wait and see whether he can put in a good enough performance to do that. I'm not doubting him. Just waiting and seeing whether some of the other drivers, Antonio being the one that can stop him at the moment. It is a 2-horse race. No one else is in this championship challenge at the moment. It is only Felion and Antonio that can win the championship at the moment. And it looks like Antonio going for a much more aggressive strategy at the moment in this qualifying session. Going for it on the soft tyres. As we just get this view from Felion at the moment as he heads his way in towards Stirling's. Bit of traffic ahead of him. But 7/10 of a second up on his personal best at the moment. Should slot him just behind Jamie for now. It's Jamie who's gone for that soft tyre run. So this is much more like it for Felion. He's getting a bit more of a feel for the car. And he's going to get a lovely slipstream down the straight as well. This is exactly what you want. That with an old punch in a hole in the air. Felion across the line. Slots himself in towards third place. Now, is Antonio improving? Are we going to see the Mercedes? It's already over in the Constructors' Championship as Antonio cannot improve. It is over in that championship. BMW and Mercedes could end up tied on points, but as BMW have had more victories this season, the championship is already secured for them. Good evening to everyone in the chat. And yes, we do have Gran Turismo Leagues. One more week of action here in the Gran Turismo League, and it won't be long before Season 3 is announced with what they are planning to do for that. Definitely some racing planned for Season 3 before Christmas. And obviously, in a few weeks' time, we'll have Season 32 starting on the PlayStation and the PC tiers. As this is again looking like a very quick lap at the moment for Antonio. We'll see who else is trying to set timing screens alight at the moment. Steve-O's found some improvement on his second run there, a 1:30.606 from him in 6th place at the moment, doing the best out of the newbies. Whether he has gone for that bit more of aggressive strategies, he's now half a tenth down as he makes his way through the Surtees bend, well, Sterling's bend there. Slightly different layout to Formula 1. I mean, the point system is the same. How it works though in this, you've got an 8-minute qualifying session, and then you've got there's not a percentage of race because you get to set the lap distance, but they're all around the same time length. It is a 38 lap race around here, and you'd have to do 9 of those laps on the mediums, 9 of those laps on the hard tyres. So strategy is key, and of course, there is refueling as well. So there's a little bit of strategy and driving around and being nice and careful that you've got to do, but it seems like the Porsches are going for an attacking mode at the moment. Jamie goes fastest of everyone on a 1:29.067, just after his teammate, H Racing Green, he did have pole position. He's now on a 1:29.1 in 2nd place. Both of these have gone for that set of the soft tyre. They're going for it now in this qualifying session. Could potentially be costly at the start of the race. They are going to have to get a bit of a move on at the start and hope they don't get a bad start whatsoever, just to try and see how much life they can keep in those tyres at the moment. What are some of those further back doing? Our reigning T2 champion then, Solid Ninja Snake, 2 times a champion in that 2nd tier in the 2 seasons we've had so far here at PSGL GT. Don't be surprised if this ever starts a long, successful career in the top tier for Solid Ninja Snake. At the moment, though, 2.3 seconds off of pole position. Let's see what we can go on, see what he can go and do as we go on board with the Lego car. 3 temps down at the moment, so not an ideal lap whatsoever. Should not be long before qualifying is over. Unfortunately, we don't really get too much of a notification when qualifying is over, but Jamie fastest at the moment, H Racing Green in 2nd and Antonio in 3rd. I can't see that top 3 changing in the final moments. Certainly doesn't look like Solid Ninja Snake is going to be able to improve from his 10th place at the moment, but the pace in the Renault is in the race. And that is what it has been so far this season in the 2nd tier. Himself and Brownski in the race have done a fantastic job so far this season, so don't be surprised if they put some good performances there, as it looks like qualifying is over then. H Racing Green on the pole position then in the Porsche. Alongside him is Jamie, and Antonio starting 3rd in the Mercedes, ahead of Aphelion, exactly where he needs to be as we wait for the start of the race. Get underway, wait for the lights to come on. Porsche's leading the field, Aphelion in 5th. Can he claim the championship here in the top tier? And here come the lights. We've got 5 lights. Underway then here at Brands Hatch, and whatever starts like a bit of wheel spin on that second part of the launch set from H Racing Green has allowed Jamie to get into the lead. Antonio is going to try and streak it all the way around the outside at the start of the race. So it is Jamie in the lead, Antonio in 2nd, H Racing Green in 3rd. Aphelion down the inside of his fellow BMW of Prima Medi there, instantly in towards 4th. So the 2 championship contenders have had very good starts to this race. Everyone is through the first few corners cleanly as they make their way around Graham Hill Bend for the first time. Can Racing Green recover from that poor start? It was the 2nd phase of the start, just got a bit too much wheel spin. Still all over the back of Antonio, and that is a pretty decent exit here from H Racing Green as we go on board with the Porsche for the first time, heading his way down Hawthorne Hill. We'll see what he does through Hawthorne's Bend. Pretty much single file through here unless you're feeling very brake from the brakes, but it is Jamie in the lead, Antonio in 2nd, and H Racing Green in 3rd place, and remains in that 3rd place for now as we fix the cameras. And you can see they're still stuck all over the back of him. This is an ideal situation for Jamie. Mentioned already, 2 wins so far this season, both of them in weather-affected races. This is not going to be a weather-affected race. This is going to be a dry race all the way through. This is exactly the start that he needed. His teammate having a bad start has kind of helped him in this situation as Aphelion down the inside in towards clear A's and the Clark curve then. He's really making some moves in the early steps. The pole sitter down towards 4th place. Aphelion up towards 3rd. Jamie, Antonio, Aphelion, H Racing Green, Prima Medi, Steve-O, YRS 2003, Prima Joss, Solid Ninja Snake just holding off around the outside of the Nissan of Lexus Enjoyer, who is 10th. Hasnain in 11th for now, but it looks like he's going for a move in his Porsche down the inside on the hard tyres, and that is Hasnain up in towards 10th. Lexus Enjoyer drops to 11th. Orva is in 12th place, and Brownski the 13th and last car at the moment. And I think Brownski said earlier on before the race started, I'm just here to enjoy myself today. I'm just here to see what I can do against these guys, as that's Orva with a very aggressive move in the Dodge down the inside of Lexus Enjoyer. Brownski off the circuit in the background there. It is all kicking off at the start of this race, and now that the Nissan is in the slipstream with a bump drafting down the straight towards Hawthorns, it all just stays as they were for now. Back in the front, Jamie has a 1.4 second lead. It probably will only be a few laps though before you start to see Antonio close in, and it is big news for him that he can clear Jamie and then see if he can start driving away at the front of the field in that Mercedes. A reminder, he's 8 points behind Aphelion in the championship at the moment. Same point scheme as used in Formula 1. So if they finish as they were now, with Jamie having that fastest lap point, of course, we'll see how it is at the end of this one. But I imagine Jamie is just going to reset the fastest lap of the race. If it stays as it is now, which it might not do, because H Racing Green is going to take third place back down the inside. Into Paddock Hill Bend goes the Porsche, and that is H Racing Green recovering after a poor start. He is up into third. If it now stays as they are, the gap at the top of the championship heading into Trial Mountain next week would halve to 4 points between Aphelion and Antonio. So I think the Frenchman, well, the second Frenchman in this race, the first Frenchman in the championship, is going to want to start getting some moves done sooner rather than later. Did have a good start to this race, got ahead of Prima Medi, got ahead of H Racing Green. Things have calmed down significantly though for these at the front. BMW has generally been a very well-rounded car this season. Has been a very decent bit of machinery. Obviously winning the Constructors' Championship proves that one. Porsche not seemingly to have the same pace as some of the others. I know the Renault further back being used by Ninja Snake and Brownski. Definitely not the car to have in a straight line, but is very nice on its tyre life. So while a lot of the field will be having to resort to a two-stop strategy, this is where they can come into their own. They can do a one-stop. They can get the fuel on the tyres to last, as that is Lexus Enjoyer going for a bit of a spin then on the exit of Sterling's Bend. He's going to drop down to the back of the field, and I think Orva had a very wild run there as well. So the top 8 are just starting to build a bit of a gap at the moment. They're getting away from some of the other cars. 2.2 seconds now between Jos and Orva. And a bit scruffy from these guys. Not something that Ninja Snake is used to. He's used to being further up of the field in T2. So interesting to see how he copes with this. Obviously, though, very experienced racer. So I'm not sure it's going to cause him too many problems. Should cope perfectly fine in these conditions. Not his first time racing against these fast guys. So you can see there, just running wide, going out of Graham Hill Bend. He won't be the only one to do that, especially once the tyres start to fall off in this race, but still pulling away at the front then. That gap is now 2.4 seconds between Jamie and Antonio, and H Racing Green hasn't got the move done yet on Antonio, and you feel like for his race, for his chances, he needs to. He should be quicker at the moment. Fastest lap of the race last time around, so he's definitely got the pace in his Porsche to make it a 1-2 for that team, and they're still having their own little battle in the Constructors' Championship. We've said BMW have won it. 80 points for Mercedes, 77 for Porsche. And it is your top 2 drivers that score. So even if it's Hasnain who finishes higher up, or if it is Jamie and H Racing Green, who are more of a team with their same livery, it does not matter. And we've only one Mercedes in the field. That is bad news for Antonio. Worse news for Antonio. Racing Green is looking very quick there, is H. He is looking pacey at the moment. Surprised didn't see him go for a few more moves there. Just Paddock Hill Bend, we said earlier on, is not the easiest place to pass, and that is proving to be the case at the moment. He's just having to sit in behind there. Wasn't able to go late enough on the brakes. I think a lap or two earlier, if he'd have had the opportunity to go for that move with slightly fresher tyres, we might have seen him go for that dive down the inside. But for now, he's just staying in place, and this is helping Jamie. If Antonio starts having to defend, Jamie will be able to escape a bit more at the front of the field, and who knows, might be able to get that first win in dry conditions. Both wins so far have been wet, and a reminder of the rules: you've got to do 9 laps on the hards, you've got to do 9 laps on the softs, on the medium tyres, sorry. So for Racing Green and Jamie, they've got to do 2 stops no matter what. There is no argument about that. They will have to do 2 stops. A lot of the others will end up doing those 2 stops. I reckon apart from the Renaults, they will be the ones that will be able to take this all the way towards the end of the race. This may well be the first lap of the race where we see the Mercedes of Antonio go faster than our race leader. We'll see what Jamie's time is as he heads towards the line then in the Porsche. On his own at the moment, Jamie, 129.620 for him, 129.484 for Antonio. As that fuel's burning off, as the mediums are coming into their own, Antonio is looking very good indeed, but Racing Green is able to stay with him. And Afelion and Prima not really putting the pressure on at the moment. The 2 Frenchmen behind Racing Green is sort of stuck in this sandwich at the moment between Antonio and Afelion. Medi there, ready to take advantage if anything happens. Steve-O having a decent debut race in the top tier. Debut race this season in the top tier, just driving around on his own in 6th place. YRS in 7th place. And my apologies, YRS, I completely forgot you were racing in this one. So of course he will also be able to score some points for the Mercedes team in their battle with Porsche. Josin's 8th, Aura in 9th, Hasday in 10th, Solid Ninja Snake in 11th, Lexus Enjoyer is 12th, Brownski is in 13th place. Barring any technical issues, of course, on Gran Turismo, should not get any retirements, and definitely no safety cars or anything like that to worry about. Unlike what we can see in our F1 league. But Jamie just seems to have stepped up the pace again on this lap. Only a 10th off his personal best at the moment, but he's not dropping Antonio. That Mercedes has got some real pace, and I think next lap is going to have to be the one for Jamie. He's going to have to get rid of those soft tyres, and that's going to give Antonio... He's got free air at the moment, but he has obviously still got that pressure coming in from behind. Racing Green not far behind is another personal best for the ERM driver. That brilliant Pokemon livery on that car. Doing a fantastic job at the moment. Antonio in 2nd, H Racing Green in 3rd, and Afelion, championship leader, has never finished lower than 2nd place. I'd say at the moment, 2nd place still seems like a pretty decent bet that he is going to finish there, with the 2 Porsches being on that aggressive, soft shod strategy at the start of the race. And he knows if he takes a win, he has got one hand on the championship heading into Trail Mountain. He's showing some pace at the moment. Fastest in the first 2 sectors. Already we've got the race splitting into its different groups. Jamie at the front, the next 4 cars with Medi just hanging into that one. Steve-O, YRS on their own. Aura having his battle with Jos, Hasnain, Solid Ninja Snake and Lexus not too far away from each other, and Brownski just a bit off the pack at the moment. Another thing I've seen, Brownski tends to have better second parts of the races, so again, it's just a characteristic of the car, characteristic of his driving. Do not write him out just yet, because he's at the back of the field. You never know whether they'll be able to pull some type of surprise result, as there's no surprise whatsoever. See our race leader coming to the pits at the end of lap 7. Jamie in the Porsche makes his way down the pit lane. 4 litres per second refuelling rate. You can see he's not used a lot of fuel. His teammate has used less. Again, unlike F1, they don't have to worry about anything like the teams being in the same pit lane. Not really any pit glitches either. Out they come on the medium tyres, and they're still going to come out in a pretty decent place here. Although I think H Racing Green, cutting the pit entry line or cutting the pit exit line is a surefire way to get yourself a 3-second time penalty. This is not normally a track where you see too many penalties because of the old school nature of it. Grass and gravel runoff area tends to be its own detriment to the drivers going over track limits, but H Racing Green there with 3 seconds. That is going to be mightily costly. It's going to put him behind Over. It's going to put him behind Jos. It's going to put him into the clutches of Hasnain and Solid Ninja Snake in their battle for 10th place. As we go on board with this Porsche now. Only 12 seconds off the lead after his pit stop, so didn't really lose too much time. Not sure if he actually took any fuel whatsoever, did H. Did see a little splash and dash for Jamie as he still managed to come out ahead of YRS, but H did save a bit more fuel in his first stint, so whether he was able to have a quicker pit stop, that may have helped him. He's definitely looks to have gained on his teammate, but lost in terms of that 3-second time penalty, which he's about to serve now. As we come out of Sterling's, you are going to see those 2 arrows. Everyone remembers GT Sport lobbies, where you can just slow down and take your penalties wherever. On here, no such luck of that. And you can see there, it's going to be pretty close between H and Jos. But in the end, the Belgian driver is able to get ahead. And that is Jos up into 8th. That is H Racing Green down into 9th. Chances perhaps of a very good result going out of the window. Best finish so far this season in the Porsche is a 6th place. Top 5 potentially on the cards earlier. He's going to have a big task at doing that now. But at the front of the field, it's Antonio. 0.8 of a second. The gap between him and Aphelion. And Mehdi not too far behind in his BMW either. And doing a marginally better job on the tyres at the moment. Those rear tyres on the BMW seem to be coping a bit better than the rear tyres on the Mercedes. But it is that front left. And that is the limited tyre around here. Really takes a hammering on the Grand Prix loop, on that Grand Prix part of the circuit, which they are on now. Hawthorns, Westfield, Sheen Curve really do hammer that front left tyre. You've got an understeering setup. That is where you are really going to lose chunks of time, and I think that's maybe why we've seen a few drivers, even though it is Bop, sliding all over the place here. Their driving style probably adapted to just making sure they can get the car through the middle sector as fast as possible. He's still 2 or 3 laps away, I imagine, from their first compulsory pit stop. Then we'll see what they go on to, because I do not believe they're going to be able to get the hards long enough to do a 1-stop in this race. Could be proven wrong. We're on to lap 9 out of 38, so they've done their compulsory 9 laps on the mediums, or on the hards for some of those that are a bit further down the field. As here comes Jamie, all over the back of Steve-O. Not able to make it work, or is it? Just running a bit wide there is Steve-O. Tyres running out. Jamie says, thank you very much. Jamie says, I will take that 4th place, and that is ideal for him. He needs to get these clean moves. He needs to just try and stick with the drivers ahead of him. If everyone else has to do a 2-stop, that is good news for Jamie. Here, the problem is he's going to be on the hards later on. That is for certain. We might be able to say Antonio, Aphelion and Mehdi go for the softs, and then the hards, or even hards and then softs at the end of this race, or go for the 1-stop and stretch it entirely for a set of hard tyres. But we've seen the pace of the softs, and it's a fairly short pit lane, so I won't be surprised if 2-stop tends to be the way that everyone goes at the moment. H has worked his way back up ahead of Jos. He is up into 8th. As further back, Lexus Enjoyer has got ahead of Solid Ninja Steak. Oh, not so... Oh, he's been into the pits. That is why. Solid Ninja Steak's done 9 laps on the hard tyres. Decided enough is enough, as has Brownski. This is a... Yeah, this is an interesting one from these guys. I think taking advantage of the lighter tyre wear around this circuit, taking advantage of the lighter tyre wear of that Renault in general, and, as we've already seen, quite a short pit lane, deciding that they are going to go for the 2-stop, as Antonio... Don't normally see this too much. Antonio goes for a bit of an undercut here. Medium tyres going off. We'll see. Well, I was about to say, we'll see how much fuel goes in the car. The answer, nil fuel going in that car. And Antonio still comes out in the top 3. Has jumped Jamie in that pit stop period. And that is not what the Porsche wanted to see of Jamie, because he knows that Mercedes is just going to be able to streak away at the moment. Just escape. Both of them have got 1 stop left to do. Both of them will be going on to a set of hards at the end of this race. But Antonio jumps early, pitting ahead of Aphelion, pitting ahead of Mehdi, and getting that run onto the set of soft tyres. Interesting to see. We've not seen many races this week, this season, across any of the tiers, where the softs have been a preferred tyre. You might see them in the odd race, when, especially races where there's rain expected, and you can happily go for that tyre, know that it's going to rain at some point, and you don't have to really worry about the tyre life. But this circuit seems to be kind to the, generally kind to the tyres, compared to some of the others. So we're seeing more go for the softs, and that short pit lane just makes it a more viable strategy. And you can see how hard Antonio is pushing there, just shaving the grass through Sheen. 3rd place for the Frenchman, and let's not forget our net race leader, as here comes Aphelion, here comes Mehdi, the top 2, the BMW drivers now in towards the pit lane, going that 1 lap longer that we expected. Might mean shorter pit stops at the end of the race. Might mean fresher runs on the soft tyres. Fuel going into Medi's car. This suggests to me this is going to be a hard tyre run. And I think Aphelion has gone for the same as well. So both of them fueling their cars. Both of them going for the hards now and softs later at the end of the race. Far be it from me to criticise anyone's strategy, but I think this is the way I would have gone. Antonio's clearly gone for something different. Fair play to him for that one, but you can just see the pace Racing Green's been able to set on his medium tyres, actually. He's had that 3-second penalty. Didn't fuel his car in the pit stop. And look at that, he's come out ahead of Medi. So Antonio, Jamie, Aphelion, Racing Green and Medi is our top 5 at the moment. Yoss in 6th place. Still yet to pit in his Jaguar. Stevo 7th. He's just come into the pits in his Jaguar. He's put on a set of the soft tyres. YRS has also pitted. He's onto the softs. Ninja on the softs. Hasdane on the softs. Brownski on the softs. Lexus on medium tyres. And Over has come in for a set of the hard tyres. Now we're in the middle phase of the race pretty much. Lap 12 out of lap number 38. Everyone racing the clock at this point rather than racing themselves. And you can see how hard Antonio is pushing. He's got that gap up to 2.8 seconds. He knows realistically. He knows deep down he's got to repeat what he managed to do way back at the Kyoto Driving Park, way back in round number 1 of the season when he beat Aphelion. The only time he has beat Aphelion on track this season. If he wants to be in a good place to win the championship next time out, that is what he needs to do. He needs to realistically get the win. If Aphelion gets the win and Antonio's in second, even without any fastest lap points, it is 12-point margin going into the final race. And I don't see that, in my opinion, I don't see that being overturned. We're talking about overturned. This could be an interesting battle to watch here. Racing Green on the mediums, Aphelion on the hard tyres, but does seem to have some pretty good pace. He was battling hard with Racing Green earlier on when there was 1 step difference with the tyre delta. Softs versus the mediums. I've got to agree with what we saw earlier from Mike. Just fantastic liveries that we get on this game. I know people say it has its fault. We've talked enough about that. Really do love the customization options that we get on these cars. Absolutely beautiful. The Aphelion driving beauty as well. Doing a very handy job indeed. Very happy to just stay in. Very happy to just stay behind Racing Green at the moment. Not battling too hard. Not that he really needs to for now. Knows he's on a different strategy to him. Knows he's on a different strategy. And also, well, I'd imagine he knows. I imagine he's got people telling him that he's on something different to Antonio at the moment. He'd have seen it pop up on the left-hand side of the screen as well on the heads-up display. So he knows that at this point in the race, he's not really, as Medi taking it all over the place there, really fighting that car coming out of Paddock Hill Bend. He knows, Afe, that he can just afford to be a bit more relaxed at this phase in the race and just save the hard tyres and then a shorter run at the softs at the end. This is going to be a final 5 or 6 laps, I think, to watch at the end. But for now, all about endurance, all about just keeping calm, not making mistakes, not damaging the car. Just, if you can in the slipstream as well, save a bit of fuel. That's going to mean a shorter pit stop at the end of the race, and that can only be good news. He's got enough fuel to take him, say, another 16, 17 laps at least, so no such worries about that. Lap 30, lap 31, I think, when we'll see the Frenchman come into the pits for his second stop. His title rival, ERM Antonio, another Frenchman. He's going to have to come in a lot sooner. Lap 14 out of 38, fastest lap of the race last time around, flying around again, 5.5 seconds now. The gap he's got at the front of this race. Definitely not moving like a Snorlax at the moment. He is sneaking his way around this track. Great precision, 128.6 once again. So that's very consistent lap times. I mean, if we go down the field, 129.7. Ooh, Afe's dropped back a bit further there. So this is going to be a 129, I think, from H Racing Green. We're not seeing anyone really get close to the times that Antonio is setting at the moment. Even on the soft, Stevo a second behind, but still leading out of the T2 promotees. said don't write off Solid Ninja Snake. He's up into 8th all of a sudden to sit in, you know, second fastest man, well, I think third fastest man, sorry, on the track at the moment. But on the soft tyres, he's got mediums though for his final stint, so that's not going to be too bad. It's early stages, but I wouldn't mind him out for a top 5 finish here. Wait and see how things go. He is 24 seconds off the lead of this race, and that gap's just going to extend as Antonio flies away. But I would not write off Solid Ninja Snake for a top 5 finish in this race on that strategy. Hasnay 9th, Yosin 10th, Brownski said he gets better as the race goes along. He's 11th, and then Lexus Enjoyer and Aura our final 2 cars at the moment, as Afe just seems to have dropped back a tiny bit. On the previous lap, the gap got up to just over a second. On this one as well, he's kept it pretty steady, and Medi's not really putting him under any pressure at the moment. His fellow BMW, they race for different esports teams, so there's no real teamwork going on between these two. In fact, I think Medi's quite happy to just sit back again in the slipstream of Afe in that BMW and just wait and see what happens. He's the man at the moment. He's got his own battle going on for best of the rest so far this season. 3rd in the championship for him. You've got to wonder if he didn't have the issues in round number 1 that caused him to retire. If he'd have been here for round number 4, where would he be in the championship? Ifs and buts and all that. If Afe had been here for round number 2 at Watkins Glen, we may not be talking about a championship challenge whatsoever. And it could already be signed, sealed and delivered heading in towards... heading in towards today, it could be pretty much effectively over. But still, Medi looking pretty good at the moment. Again, I just expect at the end of the race, the Porsche, I think, is going to struggle. I mean, H is having a very good second stint at the moment. On these medium tyres, he's not far away from doing the compulsory 9 laps that you needed to do on those tyres. In fact, I think this might be the 9th lap on that set of the medium tyres. Then it's just up to how long you can make them last, because he's not going to want to be on the hards for any longer than he needs to be. They are the slowest tyre. They're by far the most durable. If you could no-stop the race, I think drivers would be tempted to do that on the hard tyres. They'd be tempted to try and stretch the life out of them. But you've got to use them at some point, and just feel like that pace on the hards might make things a bit hard for him. Might make things a bit hard for Jamie as well, who is having a very good race at the moment. Just seems to have that pace advantage over his teammate. Another sub 90-second lap time. The gap now between him and the leader is 8.6 seconds as Antonio flies up the road once more on those soft tyres, and I think we'll be coming in on this lap. This is what I meant about not wanting to use the hards any longer than you have to. Antonio surely going to be coming in this lap or next lap, but that is going to be for a set of hard tyres, and that will take him towards the end. He's got to make sure he gets enough fuel in that Mercedes to take him towards the end of the race as well. All of a sudden, different mindset needed from our race leader. At the moment, he's attack, attack, attack. Then he's got to think about, right, how much fuel do I want to put in? Do I want to put a bit less in, do some fuel saving, but save me time in the pits? Do I load it up full of fuel, not bother with any lifting and coasting whatsoever, but know that I've got to make every single lap time count? Very interesting indeed. Surely that front left's not going to last another lap, so I think we will be seeing him head into the pits on this one. And that will promote Jamie briefly, I must say. That will promote Jamie briefly into the race lead, I imagine, judging at his tyre wear, for another 2 or 3 laps at most. But here comes our race leader. We'll see him stay towards the right-hand side of the track. And there we go. Antonio is into the pits and race leader in the Mercedes. His final pit stop of the race. This could be so crucial for his championship chances. A fresh set of hard tyres going on. Dropped off the jacks. Fuel going in. This is where it feels like an absolute lifetime waiting for the cars to come past you down the pit straight at the moment. Steve O's jumped ahead. YRS. It's going to be pretty close with him, I imagine. No, actually, YRS is coming to the pit. So there we go. Antonio comes out. Plenty of clear air in 6th place. He knows, all things being well, that is the worst he is going to do today. He knows everyone in front of him has got to do one more stop. 14 seconds off the lead. See how it goes down for Antonio. He's just got to relax. Just got to bring these tyres in a bit. Just get used to how different the car is going to feel. It's just one lap ago, and straight away out to Graham Hill Bend, coming very close to running 2 wide there. We've only seen the one track limits penalty, well, the one time penalty, I should say, at the moment, and that was for H Racing Green. He's probably ruining that at the moment, because if it wasn't for that penalty, he would be a lot closer to his teammate. He's still pulling away, though, from Afe, who is on the hard tyres, with all due respect to him, and Medi as well. Both of those on the hard. Steve-O trying to catch him up as well, but he's on a similar strategy to what we saw from Antonio, so he'll be diving out of the way soon. From 5th place, well, the Jaguar, he's had a lonely race since the start of the race, has Steve-O. Sometimes those boring races are what you need, though. Don't any distractions, gone out the window, just on your own, driving around, having a nice, comfortable drive. Pretty much almost treated it as a time trial session. This is one of the closest he's been to cars for a while, but I think there we go. Steve-O, sorry, I should say, into the pits he goes. So that is going to be a set of the hard tyres for him, and he's going to lead a long pit stop in that Jaguar car. Yeah, the lower fuel usage around this circuit really helping a lot of the drivers do strategies that they wouldn't have been able to do around most of the tracks this season. As Steve-O comes out of the pit lane, where's he going to be? Ooh, this is interesting. Steve-O's gone for a second set of soft tyres. Did not expect to see any free stop strategies today, but Steve-O gone for another set of the softs. He thinks, I can make up enough time on this soft tyre to do this and make this work. It's only going to be a short stint. It's only going to be 7 or 8 laps tops. Lightly fueled the car. 7 qualifying laps, I think, needed now from Steve-O. But this, I'm going to watch with interest to see what he does and how everyone else thinks about playing things in this race. All over the back of Brownski, gets a good exit. We know the Renault straight line speed is not the strongest. You can see here, Steve-O's not really closing up enough whatsoever, and Brownski able to hold him off at the moment as they make their way down towards Westfield Bend, and still Steve-O almost pushing the Renault along for now. And this is the downside of his strategy. Yes, in clear air, he's so much faster than I imagine everyone else in the field at the moment by being on those soft tyres, but he's not come out in clear air. He's come out with a Renault all in front of him, and that one lap, that first lap, that crucial outlap on the soft tyres, Steve-O has spent stuck behind the rear wing of Brownski. He saw this a lot in Tier 2. He's seeing it a lot again at the moment. Brownski carries on for another lap, and he's got a decent exit there with the way the tyre wear works. Fresh tyres versus used tyres doesn't have a massive amount of difference until you start dropping possibly even below where Brownski is at the moment. And you can see Steve-O just running wide there to try and get a move working. He's going to have to settle in. He's going to have to settle in behind, and this is ruining his strategy, because I think on pure pace, he has got the measure of Brownski. He's just not able to do anything about it at the moment. His fastest lap of the race, 8 tenths faster than what the Renault managed last time around. There's Antonio in 5th place. He's the lead car of those that does not have to pit. There's solid Ninja Stake in 6th. I said possibly 5th place might be on the cards for him. Maybe a tiny bit optimistic, but he's flying around on those soft tyres as well. 129.5, his fastest, well, his last lap of the race. Still keeping it consistently, barring lap number 16 in the 129s. I think we'll be seeing him come into the pits this time around for what will be his final stop of the race. Jamie into the pits from the race lead. Will H Racing Green be following him? Indeed he will. So Jamie and H Racing Green into the pits. Solid Ninja Stake in as well. Now this is going to be hard tyres for both of these cars. I'm fairly certain of it. And this is going to feel like an absolute age. Both of them running very low on their fuel. Got to make sure they've got enough for 18 laps. And that will be it. H Racing Green comes out of the pits. Both of them drop in behind Steve-O. And we've also seen Brownski come into the pits that lap as well. So Jamie now in Stiller. It's going to be pretty close, I think, after all of the pit stops, when we see a Felion, who might still be able to pull away at the moment. But we'll see what the pace is of Jamie and H Racing Green on those set of the hard tyres. Jamie's come out in 9th. H Racing Green has come out in 6th place. He's coming under all sorts of pressure on Primios. And this is not what the Porsche needed at the moment, making their way down the dip towards Hawthorne's Bend for the 21st time in this race. 17 and a bit more laps to go here, and this is a possibility of a run there. Yoss looking very racy at the moment, but not really able to force the door open. Doesn't want to make any contact at this point of the track. You will almost certainly find yourself getting into trouble with the stewards if there's a bit of a push to pass move here. Everywhere the Jaguar wants to be, he's just finding the Porsche of H Racing Green, although this is an opportunity. This is going to be a bold one, round the outside, on the run towards clearways. And in the end, nothing the Porsche can do. H just slots in behind. That is Yoss up in towards 6th place. We'll now see if the Porsche can just stick on the back of him. Sticking his slipstream might help him out while he's on the slower tyres in this race. But in the lead, it is Afelion and Prima, your top two. They both have to come into the pits, do Afe and Medi. Antonio does not. So he will be focused on just getting towards the end now. Just making sure that he doesn't do anything silly. He just keeps the tyres in good shape. Gap between himself and Afe, 8.5 seconds. The problem is, at this point in the race, they're on the same set of tyres. So this is all about pure pace. Antonio has got a bit more fuel, so will probably drop further back, but knows he does not have to come into the pits. Afe and Mede both do. Not for another 9 or 10 laps, I imagine, where we see them coming into the pits. I think lap 31, only really going to be a lap either side of that. Once he's come into the pits, they're going to be on a set of soft tyres. They are going to be flying around the field, both of these. There's going to be some action in the final few laps. 1:30.2 that time from Afe. I think Medi also followed in with that one. Antonio comes across the line. We'll see what he can do. 1:30.3, so a 10th slower at the moment. Nothing majorly to be concerned about. Just got to make sure he's got enough fuel and got enough tyres to defend anything at the end. But I do think soft versus hards, if it comes down to an overtake happening, not sure how much you'll be able to defend, even if you wanted to, as that's another time penalty for H. We've not spotted, and that is a caveat because it does rely on us looking through the game, we've not spotted anyone else have a time penalty at the moment. H there with half a second. Any slim chance he had of getting a podium just seems to be slipping away at the moment, as I think Prima is going to be having an attack at another Porsche sooner rather than later. Solid been into the pits, of course. He's now on a set of the mediums. He's in towards 9th place, not having too bad of a race at all. Over in 10th, not hitting the same heights as he did last week. Alexis Enjoy in 11th, Brownski in 12th, and YRS down at the back of the field. But we have still got all 13 drivers racing, as YRS just leaving everyone with a nice bit of gravel to contend with on the way out of Paddock Hill Bend. I'm sure everyone will be delighted at that. And I said these guys had another 8 or 9 laps. That all relied on them having enough fuel to do that strategy. They've not. They've both surely got to come in at the end of the next lap then, of Afe and Mede. And this is going to be an intriguing one. We'll wait and see what tyres they go for at the end of this one. Are they going to go for a set of the medium tyres, which I imagine is the common sense move? If they go for the softs, they're going to have to do a third pit stop, similar to what Steve-O is planning. But your pit stops will be shorter, and you're going to go like a rat up a drain pipe on your stints. That is definitely one to watch out for. And Antonio, I think, had a better lap last time around. He had, in fact, his best lap on the hard tyres so far. He got that gap down. Was 8.5 seconds. Now as he makes his way around 30s, it is climbing. Was briefly looking though it was going to climb back towards 8.5 seconds, but he's got it towards 8.3 at the moment. Just taking a couple of attempts off the lead 2 on the last lap. Just keeping his head down. He's not going to be distracted by that gap at the moment, and especially has not got to be distracted by that gap when it comes to the pit stop time. Possibly at the end of this lap when Afe and Medi are coming out of the pits, and hoping that they come out ahead of Steve-O, who's done something completely different to everyone else in this race. 4th place at the moment. Again, enjoying himself in the Jaguar, but he'll be coming in at the end of this lap, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he'll be coming in for a set of the hard tyres at the end of this lap. You've got to do 9 laps on the hards. You've got to do 9 laps on a set of the mediums, as in come our front 2. Medi from 2nd into the pits. Afe into the pits as well. How much fuel is going in that car will give us a big indication of what strategy he is going for on the tyres. And this looks like a pretty decent pit stop. This looks... Well, I got it wrong. I was about to say it looks like he's going to put a bit more on and go for a set of mediums. Afe, he's gone aggressive. He's gone for a set of softs. Prima Medi has also gone for a set of softs, but he's put a lot more fuel in. So he will just be doing pure tyres on his final pit stop in this race, his third stop. They'll be going on to a set of mediums, of course. They've not ran them. Did they run mediums at the start? They ran mediums at the start, of course. Ignore everything that I'm saying. Afe will be able to pit onto another set of softs later on, as will Medi. The difference is Afe is going to have to put a lot of fuel in his car to get it towards the end. Medi's gone for that pain now of the fuel, which, yes, will arguably wear out the tyres more, but means he's going to have a very fast pit stop later on. So even on these drivers that are going for the free-stop strategy, we're seeing a wide variation in the strategies at the moment. So it's now Antonio in the lead. 7 seconds is the gap. He's on hards. He'll be on them towards the end of the race. Steve-O in second. He's on softs. He'll be coming in at the end of this lap for a set of the hard tyres, and they will be taking him towards the end of the race. Afe in third. He's just come in. He's going to be flying around. The fastest lap point could be crucial. It is Antonio's at the moment, but that fastest lap point could be all crucial. If you finish in the top 10 and you get the fastest lap, you will get that extra point. It could make all the difference. If they finish first and second as they are now, a fastest lap point to Antonio would mean the gap is 3 points going into Trial Mountain. If Afe gets the fastest lap, the gap would be 5 points. That's assuming they finish as they are on track at the moment, which is a big assumption because we've got a lot of racing to happen between then and now, and still a lot more pit strategy to pay off for Steve-O, having plenty of fuel put in that car. That is hard tyres on his until the end of the race. He comes out just about in 9th place. It's going to be very close between him and Solid Ninja Steak on the set of the mediums. This is going to be a battle to watch towards the end of the race, I think. Who is going to come out on top? The Renault on the mediums or the Jaguar on the hards? I think that is instantly going to tell you the way it's going to go. Steve-O very wide through Druids there. And the Renault all over the back of him already. And Lexus Enjoyer in his Nissan, ready to take advantage of any mistakes, any little issues that the cars in front of him might have. Oh, straight away, Steve-O just gets a bit of a wobble on there. Coming out of Surtees. So easy to do, especially on fresh tyres. And that, what we said could be a good battle, has ended pretty quickly. And it looks like Lexus Enjoyer is going to take advantage of that as well. He's on the softs. Down the inside he goes. He's in towards 9th. But does have to come into the pits once more because those soft tyres will not get you 13 laps, no matter how delicate you are. Gap at the front of the race. 7.8 seconds. Is this going to be the fastest lap? There you go. Afe does get that fastest lap. 128.3 from him. And this will give us an idea of just how much having that extra fuel... Well, I was about to say of how much that extra fuel cost you, but Medi goes faster than him on a 128.2. This could be a bit of a masterstroke from Medi. We'll see how it goes. He's in the slipstream of Racing Green. If he can make this move quickly through the traffic, Prima Medi's just been behind everyone in this race. He's just sort of been on the back of that leading group. He's been waiting. He's been watching to see what could happen. Is the final 12 laps going to be where he goes on the attack, almost pushing H, coming through Surtees there, all under the slipstream of the Porsche, and surely coming into Hawthorne. This is going to be a move for 4th place. He's got to make it now. He's got a bit of a car alongside. He's going to have the pace on the brakes, and that is Medi up in towards 4th place. The BMW driver making his own moves. And this is where he could end up unintentionally helping out Afe in this race. He could end up costing him if he finishes ahead of him. If he finishes in 2nd place, if it's Afe, Medi and Antonio, that is... I mean, we say if Afe wins the race, he's going to have one hand on the championship anyway. If Afe wins and Antonio's not in 2nd, he's pretty much going to have 9 fingers on that championship trophy. It is going to be almost impossible in the form that Afe's been in this season for Antonio to stop him at the moment. But still a long way to go. And on that lap, not having any overtakes to do, obviously, Afe was absolutely flying around 128.065. He's now just 4.5 seconds off the lead of this race, but will be pitted again in the next 3 or so laps over into the pits off the soft tyres in the Dodge. This is going to be his final pit stop of the race for the Phoenix 7 driver. Bit of fuel is going to be required. I imagine they're going to be medium tyres going onto that car to fulfill the regulatory requirement, and he will come out in... It's going to be close between 12th and 13th place, but I think he's just going to have the edge over YRS. YRS is going to have the momentum, though. He's just going to have to settle in for now. So Aura and YRS 12th and 13th. With YRS, I think... might be able to get those tyres towards the end, and think he's got enough fuel in the car to get towards the end as well. But needs to be a bit more careful if he wants to go for that one. As here comes Mehdi down the inside of Jamie on the way in towards Shane. Said he's got to be aggressive on this strategy, and that is exactly what he is doing. He is back onto the podium. And for the first time this race, we've got no Porsches on the podium. Jamie and H Racing Green, well, still got some pit stops to happen, but Jamie and H Racing Green have always been there or thereabouts. But we've seen already just how advantageous having a set of softies up against a set of hard tyres. And H has got to come into the pits this lap. Jamie's got, well, next lap. Jamie's got to come in soon as well. Are they also going for 3 stops? Are they also going for soft tyres at the end of the race? Everyone is just avoiding the hards like the plague at the moment. Understandably, they're not a quick tyre. No one wants to be on them. The only man who seems to have gone long as... Oh, he's made a mistake on the last lap. We missed that one. Apologies. Antonio has made a big mistake on the last lap. 1:33.1. That could be key for the championship. He has lost the lead of this race to Afe. Now what do you do if you're Antonio? Again, not got enough fuel to get towards the end of the race. Do you try and undercut Afe? Do you try and just go a lap earlier to make sure that your softs are going to give you a bit of that tyre advantage? Both of these drivers have got to put some more fuel in. And Mehdi, he's 10 seconds off them, but he does not have to fuel his car anymore at all. And Jamie and H Racing Green, they've both got to put fuel in. They're both going on a set of soft tyres. So the battle for the top 5 is going to be intriguing. I'll say battle for the top 5. I think the battle for the top 3 is going to be. I think Jamie and H pretty much got themselves nailed on for 4th and 5th at the moment. And he sort of stealthed his way there at the moment. We haven't spoken about him much, but Hasnain having a very solid race in 6th place at the moment. He has, though, got Prima Yoss all over the head of him. And if Yoss has been watching, you know, his fellow esport drivers Mehdi's moves at the moment, he might know that you can definitely get some overtakes done in places that you don't expect. Hasnain, 5th in the championship at the moment, got that podium in the wet at Austria. We'll see what happens here. Around the outside, contact between the two of them. That was always going to be a closing gap for Yoss. Just needed a bit of patience. He's got the better tyres at the moment. Has he got the grip? Has he got the pace to go around the outside at Druitt? Almost into the back of Hasnain. Is into the back of Hasnain. I don't think the Porsche is going to be too happy about that one, but Yoss has got the move done a bit more forcefully than he would have liked. He is up in towards 5th place, and we did see H come into the pits on that lap. He's got 9 laps to do on these soft tyres. He has now dropped in towards 9th place, coming out in between Solid and Stevo. And for the race lead, it's now Afe, 4.5 seconds ahead of Antonio. I think that spin could be the decisive moment in that race. I do not see, unless Antonio comes in this lap. I mean, if Antonio comes in this lap and Afe also comes in this lap, I can't see anything changing with that. Afe stays on. I think Antonio's got to pit this time around. And he stays out. Is he going to have the pace to catch up 5 seconds in 8 laps? I'm not quite so sure of it. Mehdi, obviously, he's staying out for another lap. He's 10 seconds off the race lead at the moment. I'd put him a slight favourite for finishing in 2nd at the moment. I think we're going to see Mehdi finish in 2nd place. Would be, you know, another podium for him. 3rd of the season. Did get a win at Watkins Glen. I think that win might just be a task too far. Hasnain and Jamie, both of them now coming in for their 3rd and final pit stops. Fresh sets of softs going on the pair of Porsches. Splash and dash for both of them to get them towards the end. Lexus Enjoyer, he's also into the pits. That'll be a set of softs going on the Nissan as well. We'll see where all of these come out. Hasnain comes out in 9th. Jamie in 5th place. Solid Ninja Snake all over the back of him. I said Solid wasn't going to be too far away from the top 5. I think everyone going for the soft tyres might have caught him by surprise. But he's going for the 2-stop, whereas everyone goes for the 3-stop. Again, the Renaults are just able to do that 1 stop less, and even though they've not... I think in this tier, it's safe to say they've not got the outright pace of the rest of the drivers. I mean, Solid and Brownski were the top 2 in tier 2. They were doing a fantastic job all season long. Ninja Steak especially looked almost unbeatable on occasions. 5 wins out of 7 races. We'll wait and see how things go at the moment. He's in 6th. I would expect Racing Green to come past him. As into the pits come our top 2. Afe and Antonio and Mehdi also into the pits. This is going to be the one to watch here, because this is just going to be tyres on, tyres off, away we go for Mehdi. Where is he relative to Afe? He's right behind him, and he's a long way ahead of Antonio. Absolute disaster for the Mercedes man. He's in 3rd place. He's 7.5 seconds off the lead of this race. I think he expected to... He knew he was going to be behind Afe. I do not think he expected to be that far behind Mehdi. This has been... For a race which looked very promising earlier on, he was ahead of the 2 BMWs. They've just been able to out-strategize him. By the looks of things at the moment, going for that longer stint on the hard tyres in that middle stage, perhaps not the one for him, especially with that slight mistake, and that is Antonio now in 3rd place on his own. What a battle we have, though, for the lead of this race, as it has been pretty much, apart from that last stint where Mehdi tried something different to Afe, this is how it's been all race long. Afe and Mehdi, as a pair. Will we now see the 2nd BMW try for his 2nd win of the season, his 1st since Watkins Glen? The man seems to enjoy F1 tracks that were used in the 60s, 70s and 80s. Half a second, that gap at the moment. Has got a bit more fuel in the car. That's not going to make any difference. These drivers will be just pushing towards the end of the race. Well, yeah, this is going to be a battle I am looking forward to seeing. And I think Antonio is also going to be keeping one eye on this as well. As things stand at the moment, going into the final race, it would be a 15-point gap between Afe and Antonio, with 17 points on the table in that final race. And with Afe having more wins, two points would be able to do it. If they tied in the championship, Afe is going to win on countback. He currently has 3 wins. Looks like he's taking his 4th. Antonio has 1. If Mehdi can sneak his way through, still going to be a very difficult task, but it's only going to be 11 points in the championship. Difficult, but a lot less difficult than 15 points. Still a long way to go, though. 6 laps remaining here. Antonio in 3rd. Jamie and H Racing Green on their own in 4th and 5th. Solid Ninja sake. I think we've got to give him some credit here, having, you know, as the name suggests, a very solid job indeed in 6th place at the moment. Yoss in 7th on the softs. And this is going to be the other intriguing thing. Steve-O's in 8th for the moment. He's going to be a sitting duck on those hard tyres. How is everyone going to do versus Solid Ninja Steak? Yoss on a set of the soft tyres. Hasnain on a set of the softs. Lexus on a set of the softs. Brownski out of the points on the mediums. Aura on the mediums. And YOS on the mediums we don't have to worry about. But Lexus, Hasnain and Yoss are going to be flying for the rest of this race. How close can they all get to the back of Solid Ninja Steak? I think, in fact, I'm almost certain that Yoss will be able to get onto the back, if not overtake Ninja. Hasnain and the others might just find it a bit more difficult as we're on to lap number 34, and you can see, well, you can see what the gap is at the moment between Mehdi and Afe. It has not been this close for a long, long time, and I think now we are going to see some proper racing between these 2 BMWs. There may well be only one winner from this if there's contact, and that is Antonio. I'm sure that's not what he wants, but he wouldn't mind these 2 just slowing themselves down a bit, and you can see how hard both of them are having to push at the moment. Fastest lap of the race, first man into the 127s. Last time around was Mehdi, so that's 1 less point for Afe. That is more good news for Antonio. The extra good news he needs is for second BMW to work its way ahead of the first one at the moment. They're both in the same car. They are not teammates, these 2. BMW have won the Manufacturers' Championship. They are completely fighting for themselves. 4.5 laps to go. And of course, in the identical cars, it's where do you make the move? Where do you make the move in identical cars? This isn't F1. You've not got any ERS. You've not got any DRS to try and give yourself that advantage. You've just got to find your way past on pure pace. We've not seen too many, same car moves in this race, if we're being honest, without too many mistakes being made. Afe doesn't set the fastest lap time around, but does just stretch the gap out ever so marginally. Now, when we come onto the straight with the slipstream, Mehdi is able to close in once again. On board now with the man in second place, almost into the back, into Druids. If he can, you can see what he's doing. He's trying to force a mistake from our race leader at the moment. But Afe's leading the championship for one reason. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes. He's never finished outside the top two. Barring an absolute crazy end to this race, he's not going to finish outside of the top two. And he could well get that 4th win of the season, which will put him one hand on that championship trophy heading into the final race. Let us know who you think is going to win. 4 to go here. Is it going to be Afe? Is it going to be Mehdi? Or is it going to be Contact? It is Antonio somehow going to bring that Mercedes home into the race victory and just give himself any realistic chance of winning the title heading into the final race of the season. It looks like Afe, everything Mehdi's throwing at him at the moment, our race leader is just able to manage for now. We'll see what the other Prima driver is doing at the moment. The gap between Yoss and Solid Ninja Snake has come down quite significantly, unsurprisingly, on the last couple of laps. It is now 3.5 seconds, so I think that is going to be a move later on as well. We'll see the Jaguar of Yoss get himself up into the top 6, which would be another points finish. He's only done 2 races before tonight and had a 4th and a 6th. Very consistent driver. Sort of seems to be one of the ones to watch in that midfield pack. Had a few bumpy moments earlier on with Hasdane, but no, yeah, not doing too bad at the moment. Hasdane and Lexus and Joya have both worked their way past Stevo. I think it's just going to be trying to hold on those hard tyres at the moment. Brownski trying to hold on those mediums. So could we see Orva? Definitely not the result he'd have wanted after getting a podium last time out in the Western Autopolis. Could we see Orva somehow sneak his way in towards the points? He's also on an old set of medium tyres, so that is going to be interesting to watch. And YRS, he's carried on. Fair play to him for carrying on. But down in 13th at the moment. Not what he'd have wanted in the Mercedes. And in the Constructors' Championship, it is just a battle for second at the moment that we are really interested in. With Jamie and H finishing 4th and 5th, Porsche would move 1 point ahead of Mercedes. Antonio being the only driver scoring points for them. They'd move 1 point ahead heading into the final race of the season. In that battle for second, it's going to be another 1-2 for BMW, joining what they did at Deep Forest. Is it going to be Afe? Is it going to be Mehdi? Which one's going to lead them across the line? For now, I mean, he's giving it all he's worth, is Prima Mehdi at the moment. He's definitely trying to force an error, but Afe's just very experienced. Afe just doesn't seem to make any mistakes. He's having the time of his life at the moment, and I think really enjoying, if you can enjoy being put under this much pressure, enjoying his time at the front. Not been an easy race for him to win, if indeed he does win. Still time for a mistake, as oh, here we go. Antonio's coming out on a set of soft tyres. This could be very clever from Antonio. He's come out on a set of soft tyres. He's going to be close to Jamie, but he's going to, well, you'd expect him to have quite a bit more pace, although Jamie also is on a set of soft tyres as well. But Antonio, he's just going all out for that fastest lap at the end, and who can blame him? If he can get that 1 point, that is now Afe's. We're talking a 15-point gap to a 13-point gap. If Mehdi gets the win, it's a 9-point gap. Very smart tactics here. If he drops behind Jamie and doesn't get the fastest lap, then yeah, it's definitely backfired, and you'll be able to almost crown Afe the champion at the end of this race. Yoss all over the back of Solid Ninja Snake then. 7/10 of a second. That gap at the moment, and closing every lap. Both of them pretty short on their fuel. We'll wait and see how that battle goes. It's up towards the front, heading onto the final lap, heading through clearways for the 37th time. 1 more to go. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Afe? Is it going to be Mehdi? And I think that's the best exit out of the final corner the second car has had. Surely he's not going to throw it down the inside in towards Paddock Hill Bend. That would have been a very aggressive and I think a very silly move there from Mehdi, but he is closer than he has been at any point in this race. This is a possibility, and Afe, I think for the first time, just having to go a tiny bit defensive at the moment in that lead car. He is under some severe pressure from the first time in this race. And are we going to see Mehdi take his second victory of the season? They run wide coming out of Graham Hill Bend, but they're able to get onto that one and get away with it. But out of the Indy circuit they go, onto the Grand Prix loop. And Afe has soaked up the pressure for now, but again, Mehdi gets a better exit. Again, he's in the slipstream of his rival. Can he pull to the inside? Can he pull to the outside? Afe's having to defend for all he's worth here around the outside into Hawthorns. That one is not going to work, but it's going to force him offline in towards Westfield. This could be the opportunity he needs. Down the inside goes Mehdi. They two make contact, and he's into the lead of the race for the first time. Prima Mehdi takes the lead. In towards Sheen they go. Afe's trying to hold on to this one. He's still on the outside. That's the inside to the next corner. Afe somehow holds on to this one. Now can Mehdi do anything in towards Clearways, in towards Clark Curve for the final time? Who is going to take the race victory? He's had to fight extremely hard in this one, but he's just about managed to hold on here. Afe takes the win by 45 thousandths of a second from Prima Mehdi. What a final lap that was between the two of them. Antonio, can he set the fastest lap of the race? What can he do towards the line? It nearly all came good for him today. Antonio across the line didn't have the pace for the fastest lap. He takes third. Jamie takes fourth. And H Racing Green will take fifth place as we wait for the rest of the cars to come across the line. But what a performance that was. Aphelion, he had to fight hard for that one. 45 thousandths of a second. Afe takes the win and is now just 1 point away from securing the championship. YRS going to be the final car across the line. A reminder of the rest of the points finishers. We can see our top three staying on the screen there. Afe, Mehdi and Antonio. Jamie in fourth. H Racing Green in fifth place. So a very good race for both of the Porsches. Brimios in sixth place. Solid Ninja Snake holding on to a seventh place in his debut in the top tier. Hasnain in eighth. Lexus Enjoyer in ninth. Stevo just hanging on to his first point of the season in the top tier. Over in 11th, missing out. Brownski 12th. And YRS is our final finisher from... yeah. An absolutely breathless finish, I think, there. What a race that was. And, Luigi fan summing it up here. France won. I mean, there was very nearly some French Civil War, I think, going on there towards the end of the race. They were fighting hard for that one, weren't they? They were not letting each other go. Mehdi, so close to that second victory of the season. Does still, let's just try and quickly do the maths at the moment. I think he will still comfortably be in second place in the championship. Might have even secured that, well, secured third place in the championship, I should say. But the gap between the leaders, Leon is now on 102 points. Antonio is now on 87. 15 points with 17 remaining. 2 points will do it for Afe in the BMW next time, and he will be the champion of Season 2 here at PSGL GT. We're just going to see if we can get our top three in for interviews. Let us know in the chat any questions you would like to ask them. Imagine they're just, imagine they're catching their breath from that one. I think I am as well. Apologies for anyone who was wearing headphones towards the end of the race, because that did certainly get very dramatic indeed. Yeah, we'll wait and see if any of our top drivers join us. A reminder, you can check out, obviously, the whole of this race, what has happened if you missed it, and the Tier 2 race as well. That will be, that is currently live at the moment. And next week, as you can see, it keeps scrolling on the screen every now and then. Next week, we are going to be at Trial Mountain for the final round of the season, where I believe that Webbo will be back, and I'll be back covering the second tier for that one at Trial Mountain. Make sure to watch that, even though there's nothing to fight for in Tier 2. Still something to fight for in Tier 1 at the moment, although it's going to be a bit of a miracle, I think, now that is needed by Antonio after a race which started so promisingly for him. Let's not forget, he was leading out of the two championship contenders at the moment. He was doing a fantastic job. Afe was just able to, well, Afe and Medi just seemed to get the strategy right more. The BMW just seemed to work better than the Mercedes in that situation. And that is why they were able to take the victory. That is why Afe was able to take another victory in that race. And Medi settling for second by 45 thousandths of a second. H has just said in the chat, despite his race, used a bit of an expletive to describe how he feels about Brands Hatch. He loves it, basically, to sum it up. And who can blame him? I think we all love it after that as well. Doesn't look like we are going to get any of our top three joining us, unfortunately. So that is the end of today's stream. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We'll be back with more Gran Turismo action next week around Trial Mountain. But for myself, thank you so much, everyone, for watching, and goodbye.